It's 2:50 a.m. and I'm doing my rapid reaction in Rutgers 42-20 loss to USC Friday night, Saturday morning. And obviously disappointing for sure. A lot of missed opportunities in this game. USC more yards after the catch than UCLA had against Rutgers. That wasn't due to missed tackling like it was in the UCLA game. This was just pure speed. And it really showed the difference. Obviously, USC, we talked about it in the game preview with David Anderson. A ton of 4 and 5 stars on this roster, about 50. There was a lot more talent on the USC roster, but just the speed difference, particularly on defense, was striking. And Rutgers in that zone just wasn't able to stop them. They scored touchdowns on 6 of their first 7 possessions, and you never really felt like Rutgers had a chance after that or during that stretch. And listen, I'm up at 2:50 a.m. I'm doing this rapid reaction. I know a lot of people miss this game, so I'm doing it for the fans, but also I've been a Rutgers fan for 4 decades. I love this program. I know I've been very critical lately. Some have even said I've whined or, I'm too critical. But it's out of love because I see so much potential in this program. And going into this year, we really thought that they were going to be able to take the next step. And it's just been tough with reality the last few weeks. Now, obviously, injuries have played a huge part to that. And defensively, they're missing a lot of guys tonight. There are a lot of guys, I think, playing banged up, not 100%. This team is certainly going through a lot. But again, you go back through some comments that Greg Schiano has talked about in the past about building the pipeline, improving upon depth. And we're not asking for a 3 or 4 deep. We're asking for a 2 deep. And you saw again tonight, they just don't have nearly the same level of player as backups. And they're suffering because of it. And there's plenty of reasons why that's the case, but that is the case. But my point is, I love this program. I want to see this program succeed. I do think there were some positives that came in this game. Doesn't mean it's a moral victory because there are no more moral victories. Not in year 5 of Greg Schiano 2.0. But I think you're seeing some things evolve a little bit in a positive way. And now it's about getting as healthy as you possibly can with a bye week now. And what can you do in November? You had an undefeated September. You had a winless October. And now you go to November and you're fighting for a bowl berth. Now, you could win all 4 of those games. You could lose all 4 of those games. Maybe the odds say you're going to split and go 2-2 and go to a bowl game. Regardless of the fact, this team played with some fight tonight. Offensively, they're showing progress. I think Shiraka, they're playing with a faster tempo. Kali Kmanis threw it a ton tonight, 47 pass attempts. Rutgers ran 89 plays. Time of possession, 36 minutes. I mean, so they executed their game plan to a degree. They missed out on some big opportunities. Kali Kmanis missed Demir Miller wide open for a touchdown pass in the first half. It's going to haunt me for a long time because if he completed that touchdown pass, it would have changed the complexion of this game. And I'm not saying Rutgers would have won, but it was just one that it was just such a poor throw. Went literally, it was like a shank field goal. Now, that's not to say Kali Kmanis didn't play well tonight. I thought he made a lot of really good throws. Demir Miller had a breakout game. It was great to see him really just look like that dominant number 1 receiver that we thought he could be. Demir Miller, 11 catches, 131 yards. He was targeted 20 times. He had 17 yards after the catch. He had a long of 45 yards. KJ Duff had 3 catches, 51 yards on 7 targets. Mike Higgins, tight end, 3 catches, 24 yards. Monangai had 3 catches, 14 yards. We'll talk about him soon. Dremel, 2 catches, 39 yards, including that 25-yard touchdown, which was in stride. Great throw and catch there. Raymond had 2 Antoine Raymond, 2 catches for 28 yards. Ben Black, 2 for 13. Long, 1 for 13. Long completed the 2-point conversion to Calic Manis. I mean, listen, Rutgers was dead in the water. They were down 28-9, and they come back, late in the half. They get down to the goal line. I did not understand Shiano's call on 4th and goal with 4 seconds to go in the first half. You had to throw it there because you had no timeouts left. But from 2 yards out, why not just either go for it or give it to Monangai and see if you can run it in? I understand you take the points, you kick the field goal, you make it a 2-score game, and then you go in the second half on your second possession, you score a touchdown, you convert the 2-point, you're down one score, 28-20, right? But you're not winning this game on 20, 30 points. So I don't know. I guess you could see it either way. Personally, I wish they went for it on 4th down. If they would have gotten that touchdown, it would have made that score that they had in the third quarter, would have put things even tighter. So, and then the reality is once they get it to 28-20, USC comes down. They score a big play pretty quick. I mean, USC just made big play after big play, and Rutgers couldn't convert in the red zone. They had 4 chances in the red zone, 1 touchdown, 2 field goals. USC, 4 trips to the red zone, 4 touchdowns. So that's a 15-point differential right there. But that's not to say, listen, yardage-wise, I mean, USC had 443. Rutgers had 434. They actually outpassed them, 313 to 308. Calic Manis, 27 to 47, 57%, 313 yards, a touchdown, no interceptions. Rutgers was 11 of 22 converting on 3rd down. They were 3 of 6 on 4th down. So it's 14 of 28, 50%. That's pretty good. They had 27 first downs. USC had 22. In terms of total plays, they had 89. USC had 51. So they executed that part of the game plan. They just couldn't execute when it mattered most to score. And it's a work in progress. Average yards per play, that's the difference. USC 8.7, Rutgers 4.9. In terms of USC, they had 251 yards after the catch per stats broadcast. And again, that was all just blowing by defenders. It wasn't a lot of missed tackles tonight. Rutgers didn't even have the opportunity to tackle people because USC was just running right by them. Lemon had 4 catches, 134 yards, a touchdown. The running back Marks, 94 yards, 3 touchdowns. He didn't have any catches. But overall, Kyle Monangai, 18 carries, 86 yards. He had 7 carries, 50 yards on the first drive. Had a 27-yarder there. Really looked dominant. USC did not look happy tackling him. And then, he really slowed down. He's playing injured. It's very obvious. And then he took a big hit again in the first half. Walked, was down for a while, walked off. But Monangai took a helmet-to-helmet hit in the second half. Actually broke the tackle, went to the turf on another tackle, kind of bounced his head off. He, did not look right after that and was helped off. And, he's beat to a pulp. The kid is an absolute warrior. I mean, he is playing with a real injury here, and he gave Rutgers everything he had. And in this game, had 100 yards total, all-purpose yards on 21 touches. And he is just the epitome of what we want this program to be. He is such a class act. And it was just a shame that to see him the last 2 weeks, the effort he's put in, and Rutgers wasn't able to get a W for him. But hopefully he can take this next bye week and definitely heal up and be ready to go for November. Overall, listen, the defense was not there. The special teams was not there. Too many critical mistakes. Not good enough execution on offense. Now, moving forward, the offense shows some potential here in terms of playing a little bit more upbeat tempo, playing a little bit more open style with the pass game, using personnel a little bit differently. Demir Miller obviously has to be priority number 1. Dremel, again, shows that he's reliable. And then, what is this offensive line? I mean, overall, they played all right. They gave Calic Manis some protection. They didn't open a ton of holes. I mean, by the way, Monangai, I mean, I don't know. Pro Football Focus came out before the game and said he led the country in missed tackles in terms of forcing missed tackles. I think it was 45. I honestly think he had over 10 missed tackles in this game. His stat sheet isn't nearly as impressive as how well and how hard he ran. But overall, I mean, a big difference defensively. USC had 4 sacks, 7 tackles for loss, 9 pass breakups, 5 quarterback hits. The Rutgers defense, 0 sacks, 1 tackle for loss, 4 pass breakups, 1 quarterback hit. They did force a fumble, Eric Rogers, early in the game, but USC recovered. The defense could not get any turnovers. They couldn't get any short fields. They just couldn't give the offense any type of advantage. But I think the offense has shown something to build off of. And I'm getting tweets and criticism about Cali McManus there at the end of the game and, that he stinks and he's regressed and all this stuff. And it's like, come on. Like, he's not a top half Big Ten quarterback, but he's certainly an upgrade from last year. And you got to give this kid a lot of credit for how he's bounced back the last 2 weeks after the 2 prior games. Kid's a warrior as well. He's taken a lot of hits. And you know what? He had a couple good runs tonight under pressure. He made some big throws. He missed some big throws. That's kind of going to be par for the course. But still, he's got he's got an arm. He can make that pass down the sideline. David Anderson talking about that this week. He can make some big plays. And hopefully, as this offense evolves here and Shiraka can kind of fine-tune a little bit of a different style, Cali McManus will get even more accurate. And the receivers are getting more confidence now. But the bottom line is, I mean, you're at USC. You're in a season where you thought you were going to be able to make a step forward, and you have Antoine Raymond, true freshman running back, Corey Duff, true freshman wide receiver, Ben Black, true freshman wide receiver. In terms of the pipeline, I mean, it's great that those guys are here. They have a lot of talent and a lot of potential. But again, it just shows a failure in depth that you're in this type of game and you have that many freshmen at the skill positions. It's disappointing. It's great opportunity for them, and it's really fun to see them, but it just shows that the depth wasn't ever really there overall in terms of what we thought for this team. So obviously Sam Brown's out at running back. That's why Raymond's in there when Monangai's out too. But injuries of course have taken a toll, but overall nobody expected this to be a win. Going into the season, this was the hardest game on paper. Rutgers did not get embarrassed. If that's, that's not the standard, right? But at one point in this game, it looked like they were going to get embarrassed. So this team certainly has not given up. I hope you don't give up on them. November, listen, Minnesota at home, winnable game. At Maryland, winnable game. Illinois at home, I think the toughest left on the schedule. But you could still win that game, and then you're at Michigan State. Can Rutgers get to 6 wins? We sure hope they do. If they don't get to 6 wins, it's going to be an indictment of the coaching staff. It's going to be, a really frustrating year and critical offseason just in terms of the criticism, the fallout, right? If they can get to 6-6, it'll be disappointing in terms of hoping to take that next step. But this team will be going to a bowl game, and they can build off of that. My whole kind of long-winded rant, and again, we're now after 3 a.m. here, early Saturday morning. This isn't my best one for sure. Trying to give some critical analysis here, but my point is, I love this program. If you're watching this, you love this program. We just want to see it succeed. And it's year 5, and with so many players back, we really thought that this was going to be another step forward, and it hasn't been the case. Now they're 4-4. I projected them to be 4-4. I did not project them to be 4-4 in the manner in which they have gotten to 4-4. And I think where the real disappointment falls in is the Wisconsin loss, the Nebraska loss. Terrible performance by the offense. We thought we were past those days of such an incompetent offensive performance. Wisconsin, we thought we were past the days of essentially just poor effort, poor execution, poor everything, a complete just waste of a performance against Wisconsin. Then against UCLA, a terrible defensive performance. Each 3 of those games had one glaring aspect that were like, wait, I thought we were past this. So while I thought they could lose a lot of close games through the first 8 games, and I got Virginia Tech wrong and I got UCLA wrong, I thought they'd lose at Virginia Tech. I thought they beat UCLA, but 4-4 is where I kind of thought. And then I picked them to win all 4 games in November because I thought that this team could get through that schedule, get the bye week, get a little healthier, and really kind of start to click. And that can still happen. And I think you saw enough tonight offensively to say, okay, I think this team is evolving. Defensively is a mess. And if they don't get healthy in certain spots, it might be a mess the rest of the year. But can the offense be good enough against more mediocre type teams that you can win some wild games? And that's not a recipe for success to go 4-0 in November. Obviously, you need Kyle Monangai healthy. Kid's an absolute warrior. There's a lot to unpack in this bye week, and we will. I'll have David Anderson back. But just in terms of this program, you know, I do this because this is my life. You know, someone was saying, oh, you know, turn off the game, go to bed. It's like, this is the life I've chosen. I am a lifelong Rutgers fan since I was 7. I guess 7 is my first remembrance, but I moved to New Jersey because my father worked for Rutgers when I was 5, right? I was essentially born into this, and I'm not leaving. And if they go 0-12 or if they go 12-0, I'm going to follow this team the same way. And I hope that you feel the same way too. And when I'm critical, it's because I think they can do better. You know, you miss the years when I wrote for On the Banks, and, you know, there were so many down years, and some of those articles I look back on were so depressing. And I mean, it was depressing, and there wasn't hope. And there still is hope with this team and Shiano 2.0 and so much. And you know what? They went against a much more talented team tonight. And if they had just executed better in spots, not even the defense, right? As lack of speed just torched them. But the fact that if they, you know, if Cali Jimenez hits Miller in that first half with that touchdown pass, if they're able to execute in the red zone better, if they don't have special teams miscues, I mean, this team would have been right there. A lot of ifs and buts and should haves, would haves, could haves. I get it. There's no moral victories at all. All I'm saying is I'm not giving up on this team, and I hope you don't either. And I do think that the fact that Rutgers was able to execute their game plan to a certain degree, that is encouraging. So, bye week, get healthy, get some sleep. I'm going to get some sleep. Hope you're enjoying this with your coffee. I'll be up early with the kids anyway, and I'll have more football coverage this coming week to kind of analyze where things are at some more. But also, I'll have a ton of hoops preview coverage coming this week, so check that out. But if you stayed up for this game, you know, obviously disappointing. And we just want to see this team succeed. And there's 4 more chances to do that in the regular season. I don't believe they're going to go winless. I don't believe in that. I think this team has enough left in the tank to etch out at least 2 more wins. And I do think this bye week, you know, can you find some more things out about your depth? Can you find some guys that can plug some holes? Can you get healthy? Can you maybe adjust some schemes? I mean, the zone read on defense is just not working. They just don't have the speed to be able to do it. They're missing gaps. They're you know, making mistakes on coverages. It's been tough to watch, especially the defense, which the program is kind of the backbone. So plenty more to come. But overall, Rutgers losing to USC on Friday night, early Saturday morning, 42-20. Now 4-4, 1-4 in the Big Ten. Have to run the table to get your first Big Ten winning season ever. Unlikely to happen, but this team has a fighting chance for a bowl game in November. Stay tuned for more coverage. Thanks so much. We have a fantastic weekend, and made a little change in the middle with glasses because my eyes are shot, and I'm going to go get some rest now. Oh, and I almost forgot before I go, Kyle Monangai entering now 4th in rushing for Rutgers in program history. Kyle McManus went over the 300-yard mark. I know that was the first time in a while. I can't remember how long. Also, Demir Miller now, I think, has more catches for a receiver than Bo Melton in 2021. So some individual marks there tonight. Again, not what you want or you look forward to, but Kyle Monangai, I mean, I just hope people realize in a losing effort the last 2 weeks, the amount of guts and heart and soul that kid has shown. He's a pro. He has assured himself in program lore forever. Thanks so much for listening and watching here at the Scarlet Faithful podcast.